down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Savvy investors, I'm excited. Not only that, I'm excited that one of my friends, Mystery Man, has been growing leaps and bounds in front of me, and he locked up a new property, and he has some tenants in there, and it's his very first time signing a lease, and he just asks me 100 questions, and I'm totally open to that. If you're out there and you're new and you want to have a question, I believe that no question is dumb. I think they're awesome. I ask as many questions. I encourage my children to ask questions. I even wrote a couple books on it. I have another book coming out in about another year or so called 301 Questions and Answers for Real Estate Investors from the Savvy Landlord. That's me, Steve Van Kallenberg, and 302 questions. And they're just great questions to ask. Should I rent to a sex offender? How do I move in a tenant or move out a tenant? And so on and so forth. So what we're covering here today is lease signing checklist. If you want to be successful as a real estate investor, which we all do, who wants to be a failure? Nobody. And how to ensure success. I'm all about ensuring success. Set yourself up, protect yourself, have checklists, have systems. If you want to duplicate and you want to grow your business, you got to have systems in place and checklists. So I asked my guinea pig friend, Mystery Man, to come on to the studio once again. I mean, the cool thing is the relationship that I have with him. I get to see him build his empire, and I get to test out all the random ideas that I have died through for the last 20 years. So I really appreciate you pulling you off the street corner. Get in here, Mystery Man. Let me ask the other questions. So,
it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. We're going to, we should have a charity event and the revealing of the Mystery Man. So, hey, it's kind of cool, like, to be the Mystery Man. Like, I think you can wear a cool hat. It's like that Michael Jackson hat. One of those. I'm dating myself.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a cool introduction. 2 minutes, quick style. We are going to go over, I believe, all the elements that you need to have in a lease. So, I'm going to roll this out for free on my website, thesavvylandlordbook.com, or go to savvylandlord.me, or go to thesavvyradioshow.me. And this is just a basic checklist that I just threw together so I know that I don't forget stuff. And it's crazy all the elements, moving pieces that you have in a lease signing. Now, just so you know, I'm a little overzealous. I look at lease signings as a party. When someone walks into the lease signing to the office, or I go to the property, I bring bottled water. I'm excited because I'm about to sign a $7,000, $15,000 lease, and it's exciting for me, and it's exciting for them because they're moving into a property. Everyone gets excited for a new fresh start. But whatever that means, it means nothing. But you need to have all these things in place. So checklist on the checklist. Number 1, have tenant applications. And you can use this list if you're trying to purchase a property. You need to have all these elements. And the reason why you need an application on that application that I am looking at. So the application is definitely different from your lease, but here's some key things that you need to have on their application. If you don't have an application, I think I have one on my website. I can't remember. It's been a long time, but you need to have their social security number, where they work, what addresses they came from, all this stuff that's verify their information, their job, where they work at. Do they have dogs? What's their name of their dogs? Be diligent. Have you had any felonies? Have you been sued? Are you in a lawsuit? Also, can I pull your credit? You're giving me permission to pull their credit. You need this information. You should have this information before you sit down and sign a lease. Number 2, did they pay for the lease application? It costs you money to run a background check, and you should run a background check nationwide, locally, pull that social security number like nobody's business, and find out everything earthly possible. You should have done your due diligence beforehand. Now you have their application. You should Look them up on Facebook. You should look them up at your local county courthouses. Documents on demand. Google that up. Google up your county, Oklahoma County, documents on demand. It's off the chain website. You can download any legal documents that's ever been filed public domain. Find out everything you can. Print out that application if they did it online so you can scan it in later. Some software, I use Buildium. Some softwares, when you pull someone's background check, it only lasts on the internet for 3 months.
Oh.
So that's another tip that I know. I usually print it out and rescan it. Now I have their application forever and their background check forever. So just in case I have any legal things or they have alias names, if you need to skip trace, all of this information. I know this sounds overkill and this is going to take a while, but if you want to be successful, you got to know all this jazz. All right. So, and make sure you get paid all the way. Number 3, get a copy of their driver's license. Man, this happens to me all the time. I get excited. Remember, this is a lease party. Let's get paid. And then I forget their driver's license. You will not believe I've seen driver's licenses that don't match people. So you can put in, you could laugh, Mr. Man. This crap happens. Somebody else fills out an application online, Shay at the blank blank, and it's really ta and tutu, and they're totally different. You want to verify their license to their application. I know that sounds petty, but also you need to look at that license as a match up with the person that you're looking at. You can take a picture of the tenant if you like. You can do it in a fun way, but hey, I need to take a picture
Selfie.
Yeah, that's right. Click. So, all right. So get a copy of the driver's license, a photo ID, anything you can possibly can. Remember, you got to do your tenant background check. You should have a copy of that. That's number 4. Number 5, 2 copies of the lease. 1 copy for them, 1 original for you. I have gone paperless. Yes, paperless. So I just print out 1 copy of the lease. I have them sign it all. I scan it and then I hand it to them. Number 6, a move in, move out checklist. Okay. Now we're going to park right here on number 6 for a few minutes and let you know how important this little piece of paper is. I would almost say document. This in my office, and I've created this, it's a carbonless copy piece of paper. You can get this at any Kiko's or whatever. You can create this yourself, or you can message me and I can figure it out how to get you a copy of it. I think I have it on my website. Here's the deal. This is your only protection in court between he say, she say. For example, when a tenant moves in and their screens are gone, and at the end of the day, and you subtract their deposit, screens are gone, you have a case. It doesn't say screens are gone. Now, if it says if they sign their little piece of paper and it says screens are gone, then they're not responsible for those. This move in, move out sheet protects you if anything that's ever weird down the line. You should, if you want to be a superstar property manager, you should walk the property with the people, just like renting a car. Think of it like an enterprise rent-a-car. You walk around, there's a scratch, and the gal says, and she says, okay, point out any dents that are more than a quarter big. Other than that, you're going to get charged for it. Well, sure enough, I'm assuming all people would, chrome. Man, I'm tired, man. Comb over it. Anyway, so you want to do the same thing. You don't want to document things that are going to, if there's any holes or just for protection for you, marinate on this. I have a different system that I do now. Back then, I would just have the tenant bring it back to me, and then I would do the repairs that were on it. And keep in mind, there's all different types of personalities out there. You'll find someone that will write a 10-page essay of all the things that are wrong, whoopee-doo. Definitely scan it, look at it, give them a copy on the carbonless copy, and never think about it again unless, 3 years later or 2 years later or 6 months later when you're evicting this person and you're standing before a judge. This is your documentation of the condition of the property.
Didn't you have something funky like that with a dishwasher one time?
Yes, true. It didn't say that on the move-in, move-out sheet that it was or was not a dishwasher, but I noticed that this handyman tenant removed a brand new dishwasher and put in some 1980s dishwasher, and I eventually had to take this individual for court. They were frustrated that they didn't get their deposit back. I was like, you didn't get your deposit back because you didn't you removed the dishwasher. The cool thing is that we won at court. We didn't even make it. We settled out before. But the cool thing is I had a move in, move out sheet, and it showed on that sheet that everything was satisfactory. So when you're standing in front of the judge and they're like, well, it was broken when I got in, it doesn't say it on the sheet. It's a protection for you. All right. Number 7, I have on there FYI sheet. This is a little piece of paper that I created, just a 1-page document that says these are some things that you need to know. And I say this several times throughout the lease signing. Number 1, you can't park on the grass. I explain that. Number 2, we don't spray for pests. We've searched the property in the attic. When we do an inspection. You can call it a 21 check inspection, like a car dealership. But here at this office, we do inspection. We look for bugs. We make sure that there's no previous bugs. Bugs are usually traveled through boxes, and they're usually stuck in through the corrugated cardboard, and that's how they travel, and that's how they get from one location to the next location. So if you go get some free boxes and behind a dumpster at your local Walmart, you are inviting bugs into the next location. Well, I'm not going to pay for some idiot that gets some boxes over at Walmart and tries to roll up into the crib and say, hey, Mr. Landlord, I know you a millionaire. And I got bugs in my crib. Yeah, okay. Well, this little documentation that I have, we do not spray for bugs, but this FYI is for your information. Here's some key things just to let you know. And another thing, this is just one little piece of paper. I present this in the beginning of the lease signing just to let you know, if you break something, you are responsible from here on in. So if you get a little rumble with your brother or your boyfriend or your girlfriend and you trip over and the window breaks, you're going to be responsible. If someone breaks into the property, you're going to be responsible. And so I just slowly drip that on them in the beginning, and then I have addendums that covers that. Any questions on FYI? No? Okay, good.
I like it.
I have a number 8. I have Connect, and you can download this checklist for free off of my website, Savvy Landlord, whatever. There you go. Important phone numbers. This is something that I instituted a long time ago. I was tired of people texting me 10, 20 years ago. Hey, I'm from out of state. Who do I turn electricity on? Of course, I've lived here for 20 years or longer. I know that it's Oklahoma gas and electric or whatever. So put those important phone numbers on there. Put 911. Don't call me. Call 911. If your house is burning down, call 911. Have a number of local libraries. Have a little phone number. Another landlord. This is not me, but another landlord has. If you're struggling with your rent, here's 10 places to go to request money. There's a website. I need to roll this out. It's called helpmepaymybills.com. So there's charities and stuff. Hey, I want to get paid. I got a mortgage payment. I'm just saying, there's other landlords out there. I know that sounds savvy. That wasn't me. That's my boy T-Time. I'm not going to break it off, but Mr. Morgan has that out there. All right. So important numbers. I make them sign a pest control letter. This says, hey, we will not spray for pests regardless. Okay. Now, of course, we have apartment buildings, and we have a different policy for apartment buildings. You're kind of screwed at apartment buildings because you don't know where they're coming from. And I've seen roaches from all over the place. Now, people say roaches come from the next door neighbor. Whatever. It's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to provide a property for you. Your responsibility is to maintain that property. I don't know if you know how to take showers. I don't know if you know how to clean. So from here, this day forward, you are paying for your own pest control. Now, I can suggest some places. Some cool landlords I know, they suggest that they go to Lowe's or Home Depot or even Walmart to buy certain pesticides. Good luck with that, but we're not paying for it. In my lease signing packet, I have a welcome letter. Hey, welcome to the club. This is how we do it. This is how we pay rent, so on and so forth. If you have an emergency, this is kind of like a quick little piece of paper letting you know how to get a hold of us. Now, of course, we're deep into this lease signing, probably 20 minutes, and there's a lot of pieces of paper, but you never know if they're going to go through this later, and I want to alleviate all the random calls that I get. Number 12, I give them a copy of the insurance. Now, some landlords out there, they force renter's insurance on people. Or they pay for it for them. It's just a lot of headache. We've stressed that they should. We offer that shelter insurance, Allstate, Farmers for about $20 a month. You can get $30,000 worth of coverage of your belongings. It works. I've had people get broken into. I've had people, rain and ripped out electrical wire and a storm, and they blew up their laptop and they called their insurance agent. You should definitely encourage all your tenants to get renter's insurance. If you're real savvy, have them add you as a beneficiary. I should just create that document for you, put that up online, but encourage your tenants to do that to get it insurance. And I have them sign off on it that says you are responsible. And I'll get this call from an apartment building. The dude on the second floor flushes the toilet. I don't know what he's got up in that toilet. It overflows. He's not paying attention. Girl on the first floor, brand new leather couch. She's pissed the F off, blowing up the office phone number. Who's going to pay for my leather couch? Hey, what I do is I look up their file on Buildium. Oh, you're in 22 something. I download this document and I email it to her. I don't even respond to people when you talk to me that way. Who's going to pay for it? As it says in the renter's insurance letter, that you are responsible, and it shuts it down usually. So that's what these documents do. They're creative documents that I've made over the years from circumstances. Like I got a new one rolling out on lawn care issues. Another one I got rolling out on if you've been late more than once, you're in eviction status and you have to pay double deposit. I mean, these are all just circumstances that I have endured over the almost 20 years being a landlord, managing blank properties. Get this stuff done. On my checklist, photos and flip video. You need to videotape with your camera. It takes 10 minutes to do it. And you should do video. I just did a class this morning. Man, it rents property out quicker. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go to a property. I'm going to make it a priority. I make it a goal in my business. Every flipping unit must be videoed. One reason it works in court. Two, it's good for marketing. But you should take quick photos of stuff every time and I do it with the tenant being there. Hey, girl, won't you pose? And I'll take a picture of her. Now I know who she is. And I take a picture of the whole property. And if we have any problems, and when I'm walking around taking pictures, hey, it's my job as a property manager. Again, I'm not the owner. I'm the property manager. And I just got to document everything just in case something happens. This place has an issue. We want to have reference. So let them know. I also have on my checklist number 14, it is a pick up a lockbox. I have lost a few lockboxes in my life.
No doubt.
What's so sad is that like 2 years later, I'll roll up on a crib and there's a lockbox still sitting there. And I realize it makes the tenant feel uncomfortable, like they've never settled in if there's a lockbox. Or they're savvy and they're like, man, just in case I get locked out, I can call the landlord and find out. But still, I have that on my checklist just because I have lock boxes floating all over the city and I need to find them. I added this one on there, number 15 later, air filter size and instructions. So I have a document, a piece of paper. You can acquire this on my website of how to educating this tenant. They may have come from an apartment before or from their daddy's house. They don't know how to change out a filter. I am bonanza, out of control, flip over 10 times. You need to change your air filter, and this is the result if you don't. I have a document that they sign that states if we come to your property, handyman, maintenance, or someone comes to your property, and I have all of my staff instructed to do this, take a picture of the filter. If it is dirty at all, you will be paying a $125 fee for that. That's what that number 15 is for. And while you're there at the property, take measurements of the air filter. And if you're real savvy, if you're ever doing an inspection or you're trying to get a refinance and you need to go look at the property, you can look up on the file what that air filter is. And I promise you that tenant has not changed that air filter out. And it will save you a repair cost of $250 minimum if an A coil is frozen. Yeah. So just on the front end, get all this data. Another one, information that you should do is on the number 17, but get an appliance agreement. If you're a landlord out there, you want to make extra income, rent all your appliances. And I mean, washer and dryer and refrigerators, rent them to them. But I've had a refrigerator stolen and some washer and dryer stolen in my lifetime. I know that's sad and I don't believe it.
So do you take pictures of all?
Take pictures, and I take a picture of the serial number,
Yep.
and so I can track it. And it happened to me once. I tried to clamp down on a tenant that stole one, and you want to do a police report, for your insurance if you want to make a claim. It's kind of a couple $100 refrigerator really is not worth turning in a claim, but you should definitely call the police. Now, some landlords are against the police because it hurts the market or hurts the neighborhood. You could just turn in, and you never know, their name may pop up again, and they may get arrested for stealing a refrigerator. But you have to have the serial number, make, and model. Another thing that I have on my lease checklist is an eviction process. I walk through the eviction for the tenant. I know I go, Mr. Mystery Man, I know you're going to pay your rent on time. We would be sitting here if you had an eviction on your record. But just in case something happens, you get laid off, or a boyfriend or girlfriend, things just don't work out right, it's required by my office to explain what an eviction is. And I walk through the whole process with them. It takes about 3 minutes.
Oh, you don't have to worry about me. That won't happen.
Oh, yeah. I know. But see, I don't want to get fired. I'm a property manager, and I kind of like my job. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to get fired because you didn't pay your rent on time. No offense. I don't know you.
It hasn't happened yet.
You seem like a nice person to me, Mr. Mystery Man. Mr. Flashy Tashy. Got the cool pants and the cool shirts and all that other jazz. It looks like you drive a BMW. It don't matter. I got to do it. And I walk them through that. And this is a tip. I had to pause, kind of like a prayer time. There's a tip. There's the 5-day notice that you have to post on the tenant's door. I print that notice out, and I explain, and this is what happens if you don't pay your rent on or before the 1st of the month, usually by the 2nd, for sure by the 3rd, no later than the 4th, we will have this notice posted on your door. If this notice, and I show them the exact, and it looks like a court document, it's a true 5-day quit notice that's posted on your door. You never want to see this notice on your door. If you see this notice on your door, you are in eviction status, and you're going to be talking to the attorney. Not me. I like you. You're cool. I know you drive a BMW and everything's OG. And they're like, the whole vibe changes. The oxygen just left. And then I say, do you understand what I said about eviction process, Ms. Smith? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, then sign right here. I have them sign this eviction piece of paper. It means nothing, but you can't come back on me 3 years later or 6 months later. You didn't tell me the process of eviction, that I'm going to charge you an attorney fee. Well, you have this document right here that says, I showed it to you. We did the appliance. That was 17, 18. You should email before you get to sign a lease. This has happened to me more times than I can tell. I finally wised up. We're going to sit and sign our lease at 5:30 tomorrow. Okay. Here's the requirements that you need to bring to that lease. 1, the utilities need to be in your name. You need to have that verified. You can show me a receipt of your deposit. We can call OG&E right then. And you need to have this money allotted. What is that money? And I give them a statement broke down. 1, your rent. And I don't do prorated rent. So let's get that clear. So if you're signing a lease with me on October 15th, you're going to pay all of November rent up front. Then November 1st, you're going to pay the prorated rent. Never let anyone move in on a prorated rent. Just a little side note there. But before we roll into the lease signing party, you're going to have your monies that are due. And that is not the prorated rent, the full month's rent, and your application fees, pet fees.
There are a lot of those.
There's a lot of fees. So
I meant the pets.
You got to get the pets there. Pets do damage. Okay. And your rent should go up accordingly, 2 per pet. I charge a 5% pet increase fee. And people are willing to pay that pet. That's another episode, so let's keep on rolling. All right. I also put in a blank work order, and I hand this piece of paper to them, and it says, if you have any repairs, please fill this out. I don't live in the property. I've never lived in the property. I don't know about the property. I'm just a property manager. I'm here to serve you. But if you come across a repair that needs to be done, please fill this out. All repairs need to be in writing. I'm pre-helping you with a little piece of paper with your address on it, and this is how you turn in a work order. What I'm doing here is that I'm educating them on the front end of how to communicate with me, and that is by written communication. Text message will work, but it works. Sometimes some people throw in, hey, my closet doesn't close right. That's fine. And these are things I want to get done, and I want to show this new tenant or resident, however you want to roll with it, that I am Johnny on the spot, and I'm going to take care of it because they're important to me. Because remember, when they walk into the lease signing party, they're worth X amount of money. So get a work order blank. You need to have a smoke detector addendum. I don't want to get into this. We should just cover these addendums later because I'm getting tired of this deal. So we've been rolling for 25 minutes. We're covering a lot of content, but the smoke detector addendum basically says that if the house burns down, you're responsible, Mr. Resident Tenant, and I'm responsible to provide batteries, smoke detectors. I really don't want the house to burn down. I really want you to live life to the fullest, but do not pull out the smoke detector battery because you don't know how to cook. That's basically what the smoke detector addendum says. I also have a mold addendum in there, and that says the same thing. Basically, it says, hey, I don't want you to live in mold. I don't know about mold. I don't know anything about this house. I haven't lived in this house. It is your responsibility to tell me about the mold. I am a property manager / landlord. I don't want you to live in mold. My job is to remedy any problems that you have, but it's your responsibility, tenant, to let me know. And this document states that you can't sue me because I forced you to live in mold. I have brought this to your attention on the front end. Let us know. And then smoke-free addendum basically says that you are not required to, you should not, in any landlord out there, no one should smoke into your property. It does no good for you to rent to someone that smokes. Oh, I'll smoke outside. That's fine. You can smoke outside. You're going to sign this smoke addendum and smoke-free addendum. And the reason is that you have a reason to evict them for some weird reason. If you come in there and do a repair and there's cigarette stains and butts everywhere and the house is, smokes like it's a nightclub, there you go. There you have a way out. All right, number 23. We're moving down the line. If your house is built before 1978, you need a lead-based paint pamphlet. This is how I roll with this. Some savvy tenants just email that to them, but make sure they get confirmation. The government, we're talking about Fed here. We're not talking about state and local government. We're talking about the Big Daddy Fed. And lead-based paint is an issue. Kids been chewing on it, whatever. You let them know that this house is built before 1978, and there may or may not be lead-based. I'm just this pamphlet. You can Google this up. You can print these pamphlets out. They're pretty fancy. And that's what I do. I buy them at $30 or 30 cents a piece, and I physically hand them to them. This addendum or this document that they sign states that they received this pamphlet. If you want to get stung later in life, boom, don't do this. And I have learned this the fun way. I also have on my checklist what keys that I give them. Where am I putting those keys in my lockbox at the office? What key code is that going towards? It's nothing frustrating than a tenant calls you up and you're trying to help them get into their home and you can't find their flipping keys because you open the key box and somebody before you has 1,000 keys that it's all shifty shift. This is key code. I put that on there. I also put a checkbox on there, scan all documents. You want to scan all documents. The minute this tenant leaves your midst, they're going to throw those papers away. They're going to lose them. They never know anything about them. They really don't care. Those documents are ultimately for them. Then I back it up. I back it up in several places just so I have a record. And if the building did burn down, I can have reference them. Then if you do get a work order and if you're on the property, type in the work order. And to save life, you need to record everything. If the tenant tells you right then, right there, the door is broken off the hinge, write it down and create a work order right there. It also protects you for later. I'm in a situation where the tenant said he told me that something was wrong and it wasn't fixed and there's really no documentation. It's just a nightmare. So why I'm so zealous about writing everything down is just ultimately to protect you and as an investor. Okay. Then I type that in. I also do a stamped addressed envelope. Now, back when I ran properties by myself and I had 50 units and I really had a full-time job, I had a full-time job at the time. And I did not, sometimes I would sign leases with people not on the property. They would be in the office, and you need that move in and move out sheet. So what I did was I handed them the move in, move out sheet. I said, hey, you got 48 hours to get this back to me. This needs to get back to me. You can drop it off or you can mail it back with a self-addressed stamped envelope. So I put that on my checklist. That's what that's for. Make sure you double check your move in and move out sheet. When you get that back, you read it. I never would read it. I'd file it, and then a repair would never get done. And guess what would happen? That tenant had leverage over me. Yeah. So I have that on here in check number 29 list. It says check the move in and move out sheet. And it's funny. It's the first of the month. I got tenants moving in right now, and this gal just sent, I have a new property manager up there, and someone dropped off their move in and move out sheet, and it was like a book. I said, just read it, look at, see if there's anything that's important, and address those, create a work order in the system, and move on. There's just people out there that are anal detailed. I actually appreciate those people now in my life, which I am not a detailed person. Probably everything I said was wrong today, so you detailed people can check me out. But does that make sense? A
lot of lessons learned in that sheet right there over the last 20 years, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the saving grace. You show up to a courtroom with some pictures and that, you win. Well, he didn't do any repairs. I have all these work orders. Well, he's a terrible landlord. He made me live in this. There was no mold when we took pictures. Ma'am, there's mold because you kept the door shut in the bathroom and didn't turn the fan on or open the window. That's the thing called moisture. Moisture loves mold and moisture. It's a living organism. Do you remember that document you signed? It says that. It explains that in full detail on the mold addendum. It says how to clean mold, what is mold, how does it affect you. We don't want mold. Our goal as a property management company is for us to live in a mold-free society, and it's your responsibility to let us know.
Signed in blue ink.
Yeah, way to go, mystery man. Stop black pens in general. Sign everything in blue ink, because when it scans well, there's no confusion if they signed or if it was doctored. You know, I was in a courtroom one time, and a tenant had different photos of a different property, and they won the court case. The judge didn't know. So it's interesting. You know, blue ink knows that it was signed by blue ink. Yep. All right. So I asked him, how'd you hear about the property? Was it Craigslist? Was it Zillow? Was it Hot Pads? How'd you find out about it? And so for your marketing dollars, that's a very important question. You should ask them right then. And who showed you the property? When did you see it? Was it nighttime, during the day? And then I verify their email and their phone number. Things change. They get married. I've had that before. They've got a new cell phone because now they're living together and they dropped their old cell phone. How frustrating is that? I know, I can't remember. There's an attorney friend of mine who's an amazing, he has somewhere, I can't remember. Maybe it is in my lease. I have to double check it. But it is their responsibility that there's a way out at a courtroom problem that you couldn't get a hold of a tenant because they changed their information. You should make it requirement for the tenant. If there's any change in their information, it's all void. So if you change and don't update the lease, it's voided. I'm not articulating that well, but I'm tired. So that was a 30-minute long discussion over a flipping checklist.
That's not bad. A minute per item.
Yeah, a minute per item. So was it beneficial for you, Mr. Man? You're about to sign a lease tomorrow. You excited?
Oh, I'm pumped. Yeah, like you said, look at it as a $15,000 signing.
Well, you're signing $1,000 lease tomorrow per month, and that yields about $12,000.
Yeah.
And I think your mortgage would be roughly around, I mean, you're going to be making 4 G's tomorrow over 12 months. So
yeah, plus they've got a bunch of pets, and they've got this, and
you got to slow roll them. But hey, I can work with you guys. I know I just bought the property. I mean, I didn't buy the property. I just acquired the property for management. I'm here to help you. If you do stay 6 months or we go to month to month, your rate will change. We prefer you to live here for the year. We want to work with you. Just that, you do have to have a deposit. I wouldn't say it's required by the law, but it does say that we are required to give you back your deposit with. This is in the law that we need to require you to give your deposit back within 30 days of termination of the lease. Regardless if it's a dysfunctional situation, the law says a deposit needs to be refunded unless it's justifiable lack of that deposit. So here's another tip for you to think out there when you're talking about a lot of rookie landlords. They say this, yeah, I need a pet deposit. Have you heard that before?
Oh, yeah.
No, don't say deposit. The true definition of deposit is to hold something. It's returnable.
Fee.
You got to say fee, and make sure you document this stuff correctly. If you're going to be a professional business owner, you want the proper documentation. Don't settle for anything else. Hey, if you're interested in going deeper in this subject, let me know, ladies and gentlemen, peeps, friends worldwide. I do have all these documents. I do sell them. I don't really advertise that, but I'm willing to help people out. I think this is a daunting task, but there's a couple things, Mystery Man, that it keeps me in mind. Number one, that when I sign a lease with someone, that's a long-term play. And when I do these documents once, I do it once, and I just do it. And then here's the cool thing. What I love, and I want to love to end with this, is that this checklist, I never have to think about it. I remember when I would sign a lease, dang it, I forgot their freaking photo. I mean, that was the number one thing for me. Because you get their application, it's online, you look at it, you feel like you know the person, you vet the person, but you don't have their driver's license. You need that information just in case a fire happens, just in case something happens, someone else contacts you. You need the proper documentation, to protect yourself and to find out who's living in your asset, your property. And a lot of things we get all confused. This is your property. This is your asset. You own it. You need to run it properly and control it. All right, mystery man.
Like it.
Anything else? That's it. No questions? Are you ready to sign a lease? Or do you feel comfortable? Any questions about signing a lease?
Oh, I'm sure I'll stumble over a few things, being my first one, but most importantly, I'm going to have my video camera. I will video camera the property while I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Scare them. I mean, that's scary. Ooh, that sounds kind of, big bad landlord. Hey, I'm just going to let you guys know I'm going to record this just so we have documentation. And that
audio and video.
Yeah, just, and then have a little side recorder. And when I sit down with them, I sign the lease with them because I do talk fast. I do try to get as much information. But we want to be the satisfactory event. All right.
That's right.
All right. If you enjoyed this, let me know. There's comments that you can leave on this. Other than that, whatever you do, go buy assets. Don't be intimidated by a lease signing. If you can't handle this, that's okay. Hire a property manager. There's some fabulous property managers out there. Just don't do what I did. I didn't factor in the 10% or 7%, or some people are charging 11 or 12. Pretty safe number to budget your property manager. When you're thinking about analyzing property, factor in the property manager. You should be paying yourself to drive over there to do that. And you can set up a separate LLC for your property management company, and your holding company should write a check to your property management company, and that's profit for you. You should just do that for accounting purposes to see what kind of business that you're running, because one day you should have enough assets to hire property management and live your dreams.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.